Okay, I'm here in multiplying integers form number 2. At the very top here, you have a reminder of the multiplying integers rules. If you're multiplying integers with the same signs, your answer will be positive. So multiply two positives, you get a positive. If you multiply two negatives, you get a positive, right? Because these have same signs, your answer is positive. If you're multiplying numbers with different signs, your answer is negative. So a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive will give you a negative answer. Okay, so let's start with down here number 11, which says 9 times negative 6. Let me look at their signs. 9 is positive and 6 is negative. So I would say different signs negative, right? And then 9 times 6 is 54. So my answer is negative 54. And number 12, I have negative 7 times negative 7. Look at their signs. 7 is negative, 7 is negative. So same signs add. No, I'm not adding. I am multiplying. So I'm going to say same signs positive, whatever 7 times 7 is, which of course is 49. I know that because of my fact fluency. Again, you must master your multiplication facts. If you don't have your multiplication facts mastered, you need to be practicing them using MobyMax fact fluency. Okay, this chart right here talks about when multiplying more than two integers. What we can do is count the number of negative signs. So if you have an even number of negatives, so 2, 4, 6, 8, or so on, right? If there's 2 negatives, 4 negatives, 6 negatives, 8 negatives, if there are an even number of negatives, your answer will be positive. Okay, so let's take this example right here where I have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 1. Well, first off, how do I know that I'm multiplying? Remember, if you have numbers written next to each other in parentheses, that is understood to be multiplication. So I'm multiplying here. I'm multiplying 4 negative numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 negatives. 4 is an even number, and so I know my answer will be positive. It'll be positive whatever 2 times 2 times 3 times 1 is. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. So positive 12 would be my product or the answer to this multiplication problem. So even number of negatives, your answer will be positive. If there are an odd number of negatives, so that would be 1 negative, 3 negatives, 5 negatives, 7 negatives, and so on. Anytime there are an odd number of negatives, your answer will be negative. So let's take this example right here. Now we have 2 times negative 3 times negative 2 times negative 1. Let me count the negatives. How many negatives do you see? I see 1, 2, 3, right? There are 3 negatives in this problem. 3 is an odd number, so there are an odd number of negatives. So I know my product, my answer, will be negative whatever 2 times 3 times 2 times 1 is. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 1 is 12. So negative 12 is my product. All right, let's try number 13. I have negative 3 times 5 times negative 1. Let me count the negatives. How many negatives do you see? Well, 3 is negative, 1 is negative. 5 is positive, of course. So if there are 2 negatives, isn't 2 an even number? Yep. So my answer will be positive, whatever 3 times 5 times 1 is. Well, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 times 1 is 15. So my answer will be positive 15, which of course I can just write 15 because that's understood to be positive. Number 14, I have 2 times negative 4 times 2. Count the number of negatives. There's only one negative number, right? The number negative 4. 1 is an odd number, and so my answer will be negative. It's going to be negative whatever 2 times 4 times 2 is. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So my answer, my product, is negative 16. Okay, you can try 15 on your own. Count the number of negatives. All right, number 16 through 25, you have some word problems here. So number 16, it says you play a game where you score negative 3 points on the first 5 turns. What is your score after those 5 turns? So your first turn, you score negative 3 points. Second turn, you score negative 3. Okay, I'm putting that in parentheses. Third turn, you score negative 3. Fourth turn, you score negative 3. And fifth turn, you score negative 3. Okay, so as you can see here, I am repeatedly adding negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 negative 3s. And so we know that repeated addition is the same thing as what? Repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication, right? So I could say I have 5 negative 3s, or 5 times negative 3. Okay, if I add up all these negative 3s, I would get negative 15. And if I multiply 5 times negative 3, I would also get what? Negative 15, right? So that's the number of points that I have after 5 turns. And so as it says here, enter your answer as a number only. So I'm just going to put in negative 15. I don't have to label points because the directions told me to only put in a number. Number 17, the outdoor temperature gets 1 degree colder each hour for 3 hours. What is the change in temperature at the end of those 3 hours? So the first hour goes by and the temperature goes down negative 1 degrees. The second hour goes by and it goes down negative 1 degrees, or negative 1 degree. The third hour, negative 1 degree. So after the 3 hours, what's the total change? Well, if I go down 1, then 1 more, and then 1 more, that means in total I went down negative 3 degrees. Again, I am adding negative 1 3 times, right? Negative 1 plus negative 1 plus negative 1, that is negative 3. And we know that repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication. So I could also write negative 1 times 3, right? It went down. That's what the negative sign tells me. The temperature went down 1 degree for 3 hours. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Okay, let's try number 20. The price of a stock went down $5 each week for 5 weeks. What was the change in the price of that stock at the end of 5 weeks? So if the price of the stock goes down, if it went down $5 each week, do you think I'm going to write a positive or a negative number for that? Probably a negative, right? If it's going down, it's going down $5 each week for 5 weeks. So I can multiply the amount that it went down times the number of weeks to get the total change. So negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. Again, I put my answer as a number only, so that's what I put in, negative 25. That's how much it went down. All right, number 23, it says you have $200 in a savings account. Each week for 8 weeks, you take out $18 for spending money. How much money is in your account at the end of 8 weeks? Enter your answer as a number only. So you start with $200 in your account. That's how much you have currently. And each week for 8 weeks, you take out $18. Okay, so let's figure out how much money did I take out of my account? Well, for 8 weeks, I take out $18. So what's 18 times 8? Okay, I would figure that out. So 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14. So if I take out $18 for 8 weeks in a row, that means I took out $144. So if I started with $200 and I take out $144, how much do I have left, right? That will give me my answer that I put in right here. All right, one more, number 25. The price of a stock was $325 a share. The price of stock went down $25 each week for 6 weeks. What was the price of that stock at the end of 6 weeks? So if your stock is $325 a share, that's your starting price on the stock. And it says the stock went down, so I need to take away $25 each week for 6 weeks. So I can multiply $25 times the number of weeks to get the total amount that my stock went down. So I have here written an expression, 325 minus 25 times 6. Now, if I write an expression this way, I can follow the order of operations. I know that I should multiply first. So I need to multiply 25 times 6. So I would have 325 minus, what's 25 times 6? That would be 150. And so 325 minus 150 would be 175. Okay, so that's the price of my stock now, 175. It tells me to put only a number in, and so the number I will put in is 175. Like it says at the very bottom of the note, once you submit, view your score. If you miss any, click Edit Response to fix the ones that you missed, so that eventually you get every problem correct.